What's up, everybody? Chris Scott here for Dinger for 3. This is the Yankee Report. Let's get right into it. All right. So, if he has the popular opinion is either Miguel Andujar or Gleyber Torres should be the American League Rookie of the Year. But for whatever reason, there's some sports journalists out there, prominent sports journalists, by the way, guys like John Heyman, who believe that a man by the name of Shohei Ohtani should be the Rookie of the Year. Now, this man, Shohei Ohtani, I think he was basically crowned the Rookie of the Year before he even got into the league. In fact, journalists were reporting about him and calling him the next best thing since sliced bread. Like, for whatever reason, this guy is going to be the guy who changes baseball. You know what? He's very talented. Great pitcher, great hitter. But he's a scammer. You know why he's a scammer? He came to the league knowing he was hurt. That's what I think. That's just my opinion. But I digress. This segment right now is about why Miguel Andujar should be the American League Rookie of the Year and not Shohei Ohtani. So, reason number one why Andujar should be the Rookie of the Year: he is the most consistent hitter on the Yankees. Not only is he the most consistent hitter of the Yankees, but he's the most consistent hitter on the Yankees in a year where people were speculating that they were going to break the Seattle Mariners' 1997 home run record. They have guys like Giancarlo Stanton, who won the MVP last year. They have Aaron Judge, who took over baseball last year. He was all over the place with headlines. They have Gary Sanchez. Didi Gregorius has developed into a superstar. Yeah, these guys all got hurt, but who's been hitting all year round? Miguel Andujar. And Andujar didn't have a starting job in the beginning of the year. He was in the minors. Brandon Drury was supposed to be the third baseman. But instead, Andujar got the call, and he just kept on hitting and hitting and hitting. In fact, when people were criticizing Andujar for his errors, he just kept on hitting doubles. When people were saying, oh, Gleyber Torres is the future of the Yankees, Miguel Andujar kept on hitting doubles. When Gleyber Torres was struggling, what Miguel Andujar do? He kept on hitting doubles. He's on pace to break the Yankees rookie record for doubles, held by Joe DiMaggio, which I believe is 44. You can check that if you'd like. But yeah, my point is that he's been the most consistent hitter on the Yankees, and the Yankees roster is filled with superstars. He's been batting fourth, third, fifth sometimes. He started the year batting like 8th or 9th. He's worked his way up. Similar to what Aaron Judge did last year. There were people that didn't believe in him, but what did Andujar do? He kept on hitting. Now, let's address the second thing. His fielding. His fielding could cost him the award. And I understand people's points. He does have a bunch of errors. From my understanding, I believe he has 15 at this point in time. But I'm actually a psycho, and I researched every single error that he made. And I took a look at which errors were actually crucial compared to not crucial. And I break this down in my article on yanksgoyard.com. You can check it out if you'd like. But what I found out, there's really only been 3 crucial errors he's made that resulted in the Yankees losing a game. Now, 3 games, when it comes down to a pennant chase, a playoff run, a wild card run, yes, it can be crucial. But let's talk about how great of a hitter Andujar has been. It kind of negates, it kind of like cancels out his poor fielding. He can get better. But you know what? Let me ask you this. How many 23-year-old rookies don't make errors? There's not that many. There's not that many that are great fielders. And not just that. He's playing third base. That's one of the hardest positions to field. You're playing third base, which means you're in the crosshairs of every power-hitting right-handed bat. Line drives, ground balls, all hit hard right to you. You're closer to home plate than the shortstop and second baseman. And people think those 2 positions are more difficult. Well, when I was in Little League, I played the hot corner. I played third base. Line drives come at you quick. Now, that's nothing compared to the major league level where these guys, we have the StatCast era now. We can see that these balls are being hit 110 miles an hour sometimes. Andujar's playing third base. And yes, he's making errors, but that's not getting to his head. Unlike Gary Sanchez. Gary Sanchez's poor fielding, I believe, is getting to his head a little bit. He did just hit a 460-foot bomb yesterday, but Andujar, he's been consistent all year round. Yeah, his fielding has cost him crucial games like Yankees Red Sox in August, where they could have avoided the sweep in Fenway. They had 2 outs. There was a ball hit to Andujar. He backed up on it. He threw it to first. It was a little short. Greg Bird should have caught that ball. He's tall. He's lengthy. He could have stretched and made that catch, but Bird is also young as well. Not a lot of experience there. Andujar didn't make a great throw, That ended up costing the Yankees the chance to close out that game with 2 outs. The Red Sox would end up walking off the very next inning, so that costed them a game. There was also a game against the Athletics early on. I think it was a second or first inning. Andujar made an error that led to a run for the Athletics, who are in a wild card chase with the Yankees right now, and there's a chance they could have home field advantage. And Andujar made a crucial error. Yeah, that happened. But besides that, there really hasn't been any other crucial errors that Andujar's made. I get it. You're complaining about him, but let's be satisfied with how great of a bat he is. Now let's go to reason number 3 why Miguel Andujar deserves to be the American League Rookie of the Year and not Shohei Ohtani. Listen, we need to stop avoiding the fact that Shohei Ohtani, the pitcher, is a nuisance. It is annoying for the Angels pitching staff. This man has made only 10 starts on the season, yet we're talking about him like he is Babe Ruth. Last time I checked, Babe Ruth played a full season as a pitcher, and he was great at it. And he was also a fantastic hitter. Shohei Ohtani is a great hitter. And if he played every single day as a DH, he'd probably be up there for MVP numbers. But because he's a pitcher, he's being held back from his true potential as a hitter. If he played every single game, he'd be up there for MVP consideration. But because he's pitched, it's been annoying for him. It's been annoying for the Angels. He doesn't pitch like every other starter every 5th game. He pitches once a week. All right? And in these 10 games that he's pitched, there's been multiple times where he hasn't even made it to the 5th inning. So how great of a starting pitcher are you if you can't even get past the 5th inning? There's been 2 starts where he made it past 6 innings. He had a 6-inning performance and a 7-inning performance. And in those games, he looked great. But there was 10 starts. 10 starts. Yeah, his ERA is low. Great. His whip is low. Great. He's a starting pitcher. A starting pitcher should get past the 5th inning, no? So we need to face it. We have to stop ignoring the fact that Shohei Ohtani, the pitcher for this year, based off of expectations of being the next Babe Ruth, the next best thing, the next best thing since sliced bread, he's been a disappointment because of the injuries. All right? When he's healthy, phenomenal ball player. But he does not deserve the American League Rookie of the Year because Ohtani was expected to be fantastic. Miguel Andujar was not. Andujar's been overlooked in that organization for the Yankees for a long, long time, and he's breaking out now, and he'd be robbed of the Rookie of the Year if it goes to Ohtani. I think it'd be absolutely wrong. So, yes, Shohei Ohtani, great season, but Miguel Andujar, that's who I think your Rookie of the Year is. Now, the next topic we're going to discuss on the Yankee Report, we'll keep this brief. Who should start the American League wild card game if the Yankees make it, which I think they will? A lot of people are thinking that while Luis Severino is the ace of the staff on paper, the guy who's been pitching great of late since coming to the Yankees is southpaw J.A. Happ. Since coming over from Toronto, J.A. Happ has been fantastic. In his 8 starts for the Yankees, he's 6-0. He has a 2.7 ERA. These are great numbers. And on paper, yeah, if you're just looking at the numbers, it's obvious. If we're basing off of recent history, J.A. Happ is the guy to go to. But I want you guys to dig a little bit deeper. Look at who he's pitched against. The White Sox, the Rays, the Orioles, the Tigers, the Athletics in Oakland. Now that's important. The Athletics in Oakland. Now some could say, oh, well, he's pitching in Oakland, so wouldn't there be more pressure for a pitcher? Isn't there more of a chance for him to screw up? Well, Sonny Gray, when he pitched in Oakland, had a great ERA. And what's the reason for that? The dimensions for Oakland, it's a pitcher's ballpark. And the foul ball area, the foul territory is much larger. So you can get more outs that way. So, yes, J.A. Happ looked great against Oakland. He did. And Luis Severino has struggled. But in my opinion, while J.A. Happ has been great, I think those numbers are a little bit off. He's had a 2.7 ERA, but it's been against, for the most part, bad teams. Or teams that are not in a playoff hunt. They're kind of out of it. So let's kind of slow it down with the hype train. And let's just move on to the next option. I'll tell you who I think should be the starter once I get through these 3 candidates. But that's it for J.A. Happ. Let's move on to Masahiro Tanaka. There's times where Masahiro Tanaka looks like one of the best pitchers in baseball. And then there's nights where he looks like one of the worst pitchers in baseball. Because he doesn't have that 95-mile-per-hour fastball he used to have. He relies on his breaking balls, which is interesting because he has nasty stuff when he's on. The splitter, the slider, the sinker, they're all great. But if you're relying on it too much and eventually you get tired, you're going to hang one and you're playing in Yankee Stadium. And right now the Yankees are scheduled to play in Yankee Stadium. for that wild card game. So in a one-game playoff, do you really want the guy that gives up the most home runs on your team to start that game when a home run can mean that momentum shifts on the away team's favor very quickly? I mean, last year the Yankees battled back after Luis Severino had a terrible start to begin the year. Didi Gregorius hit a 3-run home run that magically gave the Yankees the lead, or they tied it up. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. I believe the Yankees got the lead off of Irvin Santana. But for Tanaka to start this game, it's a 50-50 chance that he could be terrible. There's a chance he could be dominant. There's a chance he could be terrible. I don't know. It's a risk. It's a big risk. So, yeah, Tanaka's had his struggles, but he's looked great of late. I don't know. I'm considering him as an option. Let's go to the third option. Luis Severino, the ace of the New York Yankees. He has not looked the same in the second half. Since the beginning of July, he's not been anywhere near the best pitcher for the New York Yankees, but he is still having quite the year when you look at his numbers. He has been the ace of the staff. He's been labeled that, and he's performed very well. No matter what you say, he can have his struggles. But let's remember, performances, there's times where a player's hot and a time where a player's cold. And right now, Severino's just cold. He's lukewarm. I think by the time we get to the playoffs, he's going to get there. He's going to be hot again. He's going to be pumped up, throwing 100 miles an hour. His biggest thing right now, I think, is he doesn't have command of his fastball. And the thing that changed Severino was when he worked with Pedro Martinez and he developed that changeup. I want to see more off-speed pitches and less walks. Also, a big factor, who's playing catcher in the wild card game? We've seen Gary Sanchez and Luis Severino have their, little problems of late. I'm thinking if you're in the wild card game, you might have to put Sanchez at DH. Sanchez might not be able to be the catcher, especially if Severino is behind the dish. I mean, if Sanchez is behind the dish, that means Severino pitching, that might not be an option. Austin Romain has deserved the chance, but we'll get to that when the time comes. We'll figure out who should be the catcher. As far as who do I think should start the wild card game, yes, J. Happ has been great for the Yankees. And yes, Masahiro Tanaka can look like one of the best pitchers in baseball. But Luis Severino is your ace. You give the ball to your ace in the one-game playoff because you don't want any regrets. You don't want to say, we should have went with our ace. You never want to say that. Give the ball to your ace. Because if the Red Sox were in a one-game playoff, they'd go with Chris Sale, and we keep putting Severino on the mound against guys like Chris Sale. Let Severino grow, put him in the wild card game, give him a chance to redeem himself from last year, and worst case scenario, if Severino blows it in the first 2 innings, we have a loaded bullpen. Chad Green saved us last year. We have a loaded bullpen again. So that's been the Yankee Report, all right? Follow us on social media at Dinger43. Go to our website, www.dinger43.com. We are available. Our episodes are available on iTunes, SoundCloud, all over the place. Just search for us on social media at Dinger43. And thank you very much for watching.